Welcome to the show. It's good to have you.
Thank you so much. It's a real honor to be here.
Yeah, this was something that you and I have tried to put together. There's a lot going on this show, and there's a few things about this show that I'm excited to share with our audience. One, not only are we dropping this on Machine Learning Day, ML Day, but you know how many people are going to be viewing and looking at this through their phones, and we are going to be talking about 5G. And if you think about what's coming on, 5G is just one, but think of everything that happens after that. So a lot here. But I think that's, we always like to talk with our guests, just to kind of sense of who are you? And more importantly, how the heck did you survive shelter in place? How did you build up your empathy and listening skills? It was a tough year, and I cannot go back to the office. So we have a lot to talk about. So welcome to the show. And let's just start with you. How'd you get through last year as a person,
actually,
as a leader?
Really, this is, sorry for people who are suffering angst out there, but it was actually pretty easy for me because I'm based in California. I'm in Silicon Valley, and I work for a company based in Finland, which is 10 time zones away. I was already working from home most of the time because my calls start at 6 a.m. every day, and this was true before. And so I just got to cut out going into the office. But what did happen was that, so I would usually, even before COVID, I would start my workday at 6 a.m. and then, run until 9, and then I'd take my shower, and then I'd do something, and then I'd drive to the office. So I got to cut out the driving to the office part, and that gave me enough
Well, I'm glad
time.
you didn't cut out taking the shower out.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
very
good.
key.
You kept that.
Key. But before the shower, I was able to insert every day working out in fitness apps in VR. And so I've lost 20 pounds during lockdown. Lockdown's been really good to me.
I'm so proud, and that's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, quick shout out here to VZ Fit and Supernatural.
Yeah.
Just mwah, thank you guys. Yes.
I love it. And are we going to do a shout out, I guess, for organic? Are we going to do a shout out for Whole Foods? Any other things that helped you?
No, they were my mainstays. Supernatural for the upper body, VZ Fit for the lower body. No. Yeah. And
I think, for me, I think, and I've said this before on the show, and I'm happy you started there. I'm living my best self in the worst pandemic, right? I'm fortunate enough to be healthy, but the quality alone time, the reflective time, the different cadence of calendars,
the time with my kids, the time with my husband. Yeah, just getting to walk the dog in the middle of the morning every day. It would, I saw something. The average American saved 8.6 days worth of time by not commuting during the pandemic. So you add up all of your commute times, and it's literally over a week. And if you're in a really big metropolitan area, it's multiples of weeks. And so what did we do with that time? For some of us, it was think deep thoughts, and for others it was bake sourdough, and for me it was get into virtual reality and hit balls with bats.
No, I think you nailed a lot of this, and I'm so excited about some of the work that you're doing, and it's so relevant. Talking about the timing of it, but how do you spend your time? And what I'm delighted about for our guests, so many of the people just spent their time on themselves. That's what they did. It was getting back to the book, getting back to playing guitar, getting back to learning a language, getting back to skills, getting back to just a healthier living. No one was like, I want to do more work. It seems like everyone got their work done, but still got to work on themselves. Is that what you felt also with the executive that you're hanging around with?
I think I was able to do a lot of, projects that had been lying around forever that I had never gotten the time to do before. And I was able to paint and to do all kinds of things. But for me, I think one of the surprise lessons and the very necessary lesson of the pandemic is, the way that And in America particularly, there's this, 9 to 5 is the work day. And you should be in your desk at the office at 9, and you get to leave not before 5. And that's very rigid. Well, depending on your company, but by and large, that's kind of the mental expectation. And I think our employers have they have not been working around trusting employees to actually do work unless it's within that particular framework. And what happened was the pandemic exploded all of that and showed that when you remove that 9 to 5 thing and you ask people to just please get the job done.
Thank you.
What happened was that people worked more, not less. And because when people were given the freedom to set their own time and to set their own place, I haven't seen any studies about this, but I personally ended up working far more hours than I did before, and being extremely productive. And in anecdotal discussions with other people, I think this is really true. So I think the lesson for employers is trust your employees. Don't worry about the specific times that they're sitting in a particular chair, and you will actually, employees will be more satisfied, more motivated, and you'll actually get more from them if you trust them in the first place.
I've said this before, and I love how, and I think you said it better. The example I gave is we all in our career journey have had that boss or coworker or work environment that says 90-minute lunch must be nice.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're like, are you watching my chair?
Desk for lunch?
Yeah, I haven't seen you. You interviewing? I haven't seen you in 22 minutes and I'm spying on your calendar. Like, we're getting the work done. I think that's, I think it's absolutely spot on, and it's nice. Now, as for you have this great role, at least it's exciting.
Oh, it totally is.
Is trends, and you sit in the Valley. You've seen a lot of movies. We talk about this. We've seen a lot of movies. What's exciting you now, whether it be on 5G, whether it be on some of your partners? I mean, you take that anywhere you want to go, because it's kind of a loaded question. Because I don't know how you're seeing it, right? Because you're not able to go to the Rosewood. You're not able to go over to the Valley, and Facebook's not taking guests right now. So you're seeing trends. How are you seeing them? What's exciting? You pick it up wherever you want.
Yeah. So, well, in my role as Nokia's head trend scout, basically a lot of the scouting that I do is through the internet. So you see an article somewhere about something that's interesting, or attending conferences and hearing people speak and they say something interesting, and then just approaching them and talking directly to people that you read something interesting about. I find that people are always very, very happy to share public domain angles of the things that they're working on. And then you talk to them, and then one of the things that I do also is I make a lot of connections. So if this person says, well, actually just before we joined this meeting right now, somebody sent me an email saying, do you know anybody who's working in VR on accessibility? And I'm like, oh yeah, actually, you know what, there's this other person I was talking to who does VR for the elderly. Let me put you in touch.
Love it.
And so making those connections is actually really important. But the more you talk to people, you never know what you're going to find, and you never know who's going to be the people who really light the room up, and others who are like, I'm not really sure they know what they're doing. But until you talk to them, then you can get an idea.
So I want to ask another question on that for you. We read about Zoom fatigue, right? Your whole world is a little bit more Zoom. I mean, when did you start feeling fatigue? Were you beginning to be like, as you walk through these last 13 months, I know you're having a good time, but I believe in it. I have it. When did you start feeling it?
Yeah, I don't feel it.
Wow, good.
Because I guess I get energized by interactions with other people, and so this is how I get my energy, because I'm not getting them other ways. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'd much rather go back to Zoom calls than travel and put the burden on my my body.
Right. It's
But
well, the thing is that the Zoom calls that I have, it's not just work. I've started connecting with my friends from graduate school. We hadn't been meeting regularly for a long time.
gotcha. Nice.
Other kinds of friends. So it turns into also Zoom to stay in touch with other important people in your life. Yeah, exactly. And so Zoom has actually become something really positive for me.
Yeah, I think for me, if someone wants to book an hour of my time, that's a big ask. If someone,
right, exactly,
I'm okay with a quicker meeting. I think everyone's been now in a very way delighted. I think that's just not an executive mindset anymore. I think the entire organization now believes, hey, we can do quicker meetings instead of, hey, it's an executive time. You only have got 5 minutes. Get there in 5 minutes. I think everyone now is like, I only want to be on this for 5 minutes.
Exactly. It's like, you know what? If we're efficient, we can do this in 15 minutes and everybody speaks their piece and we're done. And yeah, so
those meetings all day.
Exactly. Yeah. So meetings for the sake of meetings. Also, as I've gotten older, I've gotten much more selective about the meetings I go to. It's like, am I actively going to be contributing or am I actively going to be receiving? Otherwise, no. So, having the courage to say no, that's something that kind of growing up and getting confidence has given me. Yeah.
So now Machine Learning Day is a day we're going to celebrate, but there's a lot to celebrate. I want to dig into some of the great work the great, the word I'm looking for, the great blank that 5G will do for us.
Okay,
There is, you know what I mean? There is a great, I want to celebrate. I'm tired. I want to celebrate. ML, 5G, what are we celebrating?
Let me set the scene here because
Love it.
I'm gonna tell you, our industry has done a terrible job of letting people know what 5G is for. So let me tell you the big difference that 5G is going to bring.
Love it.
It's not just about downloading videos faster. So
you get
that too, you know. But
I'm giving back my new iPhone. That's all I got it for.
But no, the real significant thing that 5G is going to bring, and notice I use the future tense there because it's not all of the pieces are in place yet. And that's why we haven't really seen this big, like, oh, 5G, whoa, everything's different. No, because the other things other than 5G also have to come into play. And so the key thing that 5G is enabling is something that I call splitting the chip. If we think about the
splitting the chip.
Splitting the chip, right. So if we think about the devices that we have right now, it's got this big fat, my phone has got a big fat chip in it, my laptop as well, that it's basically a supercomputer if you look at it from, 1969 Apollo standards. And that's great. That solves a lot of computing problems. But, every new technology brings new problems that then need to be solved. This chip is expensive. It does a lot. It's expensive, it generates a lot of heat, and it requires a lot of battery. And okay, those are problems that now need to be solved. So the thing that 5G is going to enable is having end devices that have, and think about, for example, augmented reality glasses. I'll just use that because we've got visual and I can use my own glasses here. If we're going to have augmented reality glasses that look like normal eyewear, and to be clear, this is normal eyewear. These aren't some secret augmented reality things that I've got. We have to not have the computing on the device. We have to have the minimum possible operating system on the glasses, and then we need to connect to effectively the rest of the chip off the device. And the first stage of that is going to be, this structure will enable augmented reality, robotics, drones, 5G, cloud gaming, all these kinds of things, where you've got a minimum amount of processing on the end device. And then you connect to, using 5G, because it's got the bandwidth and the latency, to connect to the rest of the processing that is sitting somewhere else. Now, in the early days, we're going to be seeing some of that processing sitting in a smartphone. But you know what? That's not actually that much different and not much bigger. The real key is when you can actually connect to a mini data center that's located at the network edge at the base station, and you've got servers there that are doing the rest of the processing. So now you have not only enabled the end device to be cooler, cheaper, and have a much longer battery life, but you've vastly increased the amount of computing and analytics that are possible with this end device. Again, head-mounted augmented reality, robots, drones, because you're now dealing, the second half of the chip is now a stack of servers. And so this is going to unlock unbelievable advances in all of these industries, and visual analytics as well. We've got a small camera that's dealing with big visual processing somewhere else. So one theoretical example of this kind of thing. I have, augmented reality glasses, say. Apple has filed a patent allowing vision correction to be done through augmented reality head-mounted devices, HMDs. Whether they actually build it or not, I don't know, but they filed a patent for it. So you and I both wear glasses. So now I've got, instead of these don't do anything glasses except correct my vision, I can now put on computer glasses that will correct my vision. And then if you put that together with something that Facebook is working on, which is augmented audio, it tracks your gaze and then it promotes the audio of whatever you're looking at and makes that louder over and above all of the other audio that's in a particular scene. So now you're enhancing the audio as well. And then if we think of other stuff that just already exists, what about speech to text? What about you and I are talking and you can hear my voice, but also your glasses are sending my voice to the server where it's doing speech to text, and it's coming back with almost real-time subtitles. And why not throw a translation in there as well? If you want to hear what I'm saying in French, there you go. So these are 4 use cases that are enabled by that kind of sensory enhancement use cases that will be enabled by that structure of having a light end device connected with 5G to processing and analytics not very far away in a server at the network edge. And that's the kind of thing that 5G is going to make possible.
Lots to be grateful for on Machine Learning Day 5G. That is insane.
I know.
That is insane.
And it's just the beginning. Those are the things we can imagine now, right?
There's a lot, and there's a lot of smart people there helping us. So I guess part of that journey was the spectrum, getting the spectrum.
Yes.
Then the next part is the hardware.
Yes.
Then we have building out use cases. And is that kind of also a little bit closer where you're sitting now? It's like you see the big vision, you're at the top of the mountain, and now you're trying to help build the ecosystem?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm really glad you used the word ecosystem, because this is going to be it's going to be a completely new paradigm. Yeah. If we look at the map of how companies are going to come together at the network edge to provide the kinds of services that I was just talking about, there's going to be multiple companies, and these are going to be really complex business and technical kinds of setups, and it's going to take a little bit for us to figure out how to do this. Because if we think about it, you've got the connectivity layer, and that's probably always going to be owned by some kind of operator, and that's fine. Yeah. But you've got now these mini data centers sitting in the network somewhere, generally pretty close to the end user. There's hardware involved there, and there's software involved there. You could have different owners for both of those. Yeah. Who's going to own it? Who's going to do the billing and the charging? Who's going to actually be the front end of this service to the final end user? There's going to be multiple players here, and this is more complex than anything our industry or anybody, our industry has done before. And I think that's why we're seeing some hesitation. So part of what's happening, that splitting the chip work that I talked about, that's a physical activity right now, and Qualcomm is the company that's working on it the most. The literal, what are the mechanics that need to go into the headset, and what are the mechanics that can actually go elsewhere and be on the network and still have the two come together and be a seamless experience. So Qualcomm's working on that. And that's, big say is kind of, well, maybe a year or two away. Then there's kind of optics elements and battery development elements, and those are the hardware-y things, and those are kind of a year or two away. Then there's getting 5G, enough 5G rolled out everywhere that we want to be. And that's still, maybe a year or two away. And then there's a whole other category of not just sensory enhancement, but bringing in information, the spatial internet, basically, which is taking information and entertainment that's currently held in the internet and then integrating it with the places where it's relevant actually out there in the three-dimensional world. So I'm walking through a forest. I've got a forest out my window. It's what's making me think of this. And I look at a tree and I'm like, I actually have no idea what kind of tree that is. Glasses, what kind of tree is this? Because it'll probably be a voice interface. And then it uses the front-facing camera to look at the leaf and then to
Yeah.
And then tell me. But
I just want to go one place. Based on where you sit in the valley and all those stages, if one of the Sand Hill Road VCs are coming to you, which one of those are early and which one of those are too early, just fundamentally? Or because a year away doesn't seem, if I'm a venture person, too far. Right?
No, it's all really close.
It doesn't seem too early anymore.
No, it's not. And well, the key thing is there's already gigantic money, specifically looking at the AR head-mounted glasses. Yeah. Okay, rumors are that Apple's working on this. I have to emphasize it's only rumors. Apple's confirmed, right? Microsoft, it's just been leaked or announced, I'm not quite sure what the right verb is, that Microsoft is going to be working on a consumer version of their HoloLens. We know that Google
is in this. Really? I'm a
Yes,
fan.
I just saw that this morning. Yes.
Wow.
And so, but again, I don't know.
Even that's a rumor. Wow. I mean, work's changing. That's incredible.
Exactly. Google last year bought the Canadian headset manufacturer North, so it looks like they're getting back in the game.
Got it.
Facebook, 17% of their employees are already working on AR and VR. And I'm a huge Oculus fan. Can't wait to see what they do on AR. We have Niantic in this space, the Pokemon Go company. We have Snap Camera in this space. Right. And here's the most exciting one. We have Jio. Jio is an Indian operator that is owned by Mukesh Ambani, who's the richest man.
Yes. He spun that up like recently. He threw a ton of money at that.
Exactly. The backstory is actually even better. His teenage kids came to him in about 2014, don't hold me to it, but around there, and said, Dad, cellular data in India, the service and the quality and everything is terrible. We see a business opportunity. And of course, he made his money from oil and gas.
Yep.
Richest man in India. And if you take the logo for Jio and you look at it in a mirror, it actually spells the word oil, which I love. I think that's great. Anyway, so
exciting time.
So he builds a 4G network that completely covers India. He makes it really good, and then he gives it away for free to anyone who wants to use it for a year. It completely destroyed the mechanics of the Indian market. But his next big thing, in capital letters, is mixed reality. And so Jio is currently working on a developer program for XR development in India. And the fact that this is really the first time we've got a new paradigm coming at us for how humans and computers are going to interact, getting away from the screen and keyboard based kind of thing. And we actually have heavy tech support coming at an early stage, not at a later stage, from an emerging market. I think that is actually going to be rocket fuel for this whole thing.
I hear it in your voice. I hear it in the body language. I mean, like, you are in your wheelhouse. You are someone who absolutely is passionate about this next world, next move, next
whatever
play.
It is, right?
And you're right in the city that does it. And I am so glad you got to share that story with me, with our audience on this day. So I am just absolutely grateful we came together. And we are a community, so there are a few people I want to introduce you to. We've had some 5G experts. We've had some other experts in other media. So I think just like you love to connect, I like to connect as well. And I think we're going to be friends for a long time. So that's my hope.
I think so too.
We get each other. So thank you for being on the show. We are sponsored by Pandio. They're dropping an ML tool on ML Day. And we are absolutely cheering for you. And if we see other opportunities, we're going to send them your way as well.
Love it. Listen, a rising tide lifts all boats. The more we share information, the more we all know about what's going on, the faster this all happens.
I agree. Well, Leslie, thank you for being on the show.
My pleasure, Darren.